Hello and welcome to another episode of ZED Talks Leaguecast Fixes Champions. This week we will be talking about, not the right character, Sivir, Skarner, Sona, Soraka, Swain, Sylas, and Syndra. I almost read the ones from last week. Joining me this week is Colton Blue Basket Sweat.
Hey, my last name starts with an S.
And Nick the King Cooper.
Hey, I don't have an S in my name. That's not true.
Nice.
What's up?
Cool. Do you guys want to
Cooper?
Do you guys want to hop right into it with Sivir?
I do want to hop into Sivir. The champion.
That's kind of gross,
the champion.
man.
I mean, sorry.
The champion or the sneaky cosplay?
Okay, well, no.
It's the question.
Honestly, I like Sivir's kit a lot. She's one of my favorite AD carries to play. I think she feels really smooth with specifically the auto attack reset with her W. I think is a really good part of her kit. I think her only big issue is her crazy mana costs, which I think are justified given the strength of her skills. But I think she has really low range, which is something that I think I would like to look at. Maybe her W grants range as well, but maybe that's
just
too
make
much.
her W not shit boring. Holy fuck! I really don't think she has a lot that can be changed. I think her ultimate should be a team buff. I think that's really cool, unless we turn it to a crazy steroid that gives her tons of shit, which would be cool. But I do like the team wide boost and stuff like that. It kind of feels cool playing an AD carry that almost Shreya is your team and stuff. Her spell shield literally can't be touched. I don't think. I just don't think unless you added more onto it, and I think her Q can't be touched. So that leaves her W into her passive in my mind. I think her W is boring as shit though.
Her passive is even more boring. It's gain a little bit of move speed when you hit a champion with a spell or auto attack, which kind of leans into that kiting fantasy that I think she has. Alongside of her ultimate, but I think it definitely can be changed. Can we play on the fact that she's a mercenary?
That's what I was gonna bring up when you guys were talking about her. Is I think she works okay, but I don't think she really thematically fits her own character at all. And I think that you could change a lot more. I think really the only thing you have to keep is her Q. In my eyes,
I'm kind of in the same boat with Aiden. I think at the very least, she needs the team wide buff and she needs the Q. Maybe the spell shield can be changed, but she would need some big defensive tool. I think
if the spell shield's getting changed, it's getting added onto it, so it's a spell shield that does X after proc. You know what I mean? And that's just because her spell shield was created in season 1, so therefore it only does one thing.
I could see it. I guess to me, what I would like to see that I think could kind of fit that without being as dumb, because I think that to me one of the most irritating things about Sivir's spell shield is when you're in particular lanes, let's say against Caitlyn, and she just walks up onto a trap with spell shield to get free mana. That is a dumb interaction in my mind.
Well, but I think that's don't put your trap down where she can spell shield it, right?
I see that. I get that there is plenty behind it, but I don't think that's fun gameplay.
I mean, I don't think so either.
So what I would want to see Sivir see, and I think that to me this would be the biggest change, but I think you could do a lot more, is I would want to make her E a small range dash, and for the sake of giving her a pseudo spell shield, I'd probably make it an unstoppable short range dash. Or maybe at the beginning of it, or some sort of CC immunity. But I think that even a small dash Gale Force distance just adds some fun with throwing a boomerang and dashing to the side to change where it comes back to.
That's true. That is a really cool idea.
It's kind of with REQ, where
I agree. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Other than that, I think that again, her auto attacks bouncing, I think could and probably should just be her passive, where it's hey, Sivir's auto attacks bounce.
I think maybe it could scale similar to Kale.
I was
6, 11, 16.
Yeah, where it's like it gets 2 bounces or 3 bounces, or maybe it's a fixed number of bounces, but the damage reduction gets less and less. And so like when you're level 18, they're bouncing for like 80% of full damage or something.
Yeah.
And then I think right, we've now kind of opened up WR to a little bit more that you can really like actually do with her kit. I mean, her buffing her team is very synonymous with Sivir, but I also think it's like not a very Sivir thing, right? Like she's the fucking out for only herself solo mercenary.
That's a good point.
And it's like, let me buff my team. Like that's not, and so I'd rather see it be probably just like an insane self buff. And you could go into like the Shreeman bloodline and be like, she like temporarily ascends or something.
Oh, that'd be so sick.
And gains like 50 attack range and a little bit of movement speed and attack speed or whatever. I think that could be really cool, where she like temporarily ascends, and then her W at that point I would think is probably more utility based. I'm not sure exactly what it would or really could be, but that's kind of my vision of what I'd rather see Sivir be.
That's really cool.
I like the idea of her ascending. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, so do you want to talk about Skarner?
Yeah, I think Skarner, let's move on to him, sure.
I think right off the bat, we know that the Skarner pillars or whatever they are dog
the
shit.
shrines.
The shrines, yeah.
They shouldn't be in the game. It's a fucking stupid-ass mini game that doesn't really provide much. I don't mind the idea of having certain points on the map, like even if it was just in his jungle where he's like stronger or something like that. You know what I mean? Or just like, I don't know. I do like the idea of like him having like a area where he's closer to it. He's like more powerful. You know, like don't fight on Skarner's turf because he'll fuck you up, sort of shit. That being said, this turning like pillar mini game management thing is crazy not fun.
If you really want that, just make it like Trundle W, where it's like, cool, this is my power zone, don't fight me in my power zone.
Yeah I also don't think it has to be in the kit, like at the like in reality. I just think it's like not a bad mechanic overall. It's just not done well with the mini game aspect.
It's not. Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary at all. Like I kind of get it, but I also, and maybe they've changed his lore, but like one thing I really like to do in these reworks is try and like bring a champion's playstyle more in line with their identity. And I just don't get how that relates. Like, oh, he's he's the last Brackern, and he becomes strong next to Crystal, but any random person can just walk over and like fucking take over his Crystal? Like, what?
I think if Skarner dies one time, he should be turned into a battery for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
I think if he's near Seraphine, he should get, like, the pillar power up as well, because she uses Brackern fucking energy or whatever.
What if he had, like, a burrow ability like Rek'Sai, where he just went under the ground and hibernated?
I don't hate it. I think, like, the main thing I would, like, start changing with Skarner is I think he needs, like, more impactful abilities rather than, like, his Q being, like, a 2-second, like, you auto Q, whatever is like super boring, not very much fun. I'd rather it be like a fucking like crazy strong damage ability. It has like a 7-second cooldown or an 8-second cooldown rather than like a 2-second cooldown. Like impactful abilities feel good, and man, it feels like you're just maxing Skarner's Q because you're supposed to max it, because the rest of his abilities kind of suck a wiener.
I actually feel that way about his W. I think his W's one of the more boring skills in the game. Like you get
all his skills
run fast a little bit.
Yeah. Like
his
and you get a small
power
shield.
budget. His entire power budget is in his R.
Yeah, and I don't think that can change at all.
No, I mean, like I think you could adjust, but right, like he's gonna have the R where he impales you and pulls you back to his team. Like I don't think you can change that about Skarner. But
honestly, if I was going to change anything about it, I would make it so it's not cleansable.
Ooh, I think that makes him really strong.
I don't think it needs to be cleansed. Like, a problem I have with like a lot of characters like Skarner, Skarner is like probably the biggest example of it because he's a very weak character outside of his ultimate, is that all your power is in this one ability that someone can spend 1,300 gold and then you're not a threat to them anymore, right? And at least like having some semblance of like, hey, this ability will always at least be useful, like I think allows you to fucking feel not like shit playing that character.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole reason they removed other QSS interactions like with Fiora or Zed. Their ultimates that weren't CC, like tied to CC, but
I could see it maybe where if we still wanted to give him his power zone, maybe like units in that zone are grounded, or like if he had some type of ability to ground you, then again, like having it not be cleansable, I see, but I also think it's like it's a fine line between that being good because then you can't just like wreck Skarner for 1,300 gold. There's the other side of it where you're like, oh man, that's really fun that I like. There's literally no counterplay from a fucking like flash Skarner ult with Chem Tank.
Yeah, I guess at that point you need to rely on your team.
I don't know. I just think that like having abilities where you go, damn, this ability is very powerful because it makes the enemy spend 1,300 gold is like not a fun way to view League of Legends.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, not to like, we'll talk about it next week because we're talking about Tom Kent, not next month when we're talking about Tom Kent, but his rework went live on the PBE today, right? And his ultimate, the main thing I think see strong in him is that his ultimate is now his Devour or whatever, but it's 3 seconds on an enemy. It used to be 2 seconds, right? Ooh. And I'm like, oh fuck, this makes people buy QSS because you being able to eat an enemy for 3 seconds and walk them somewhere is like a pseudo Skarner ult, right? It's just, well, it might be even better than Skarner ult, to be honest. You just have to get 3 stacks on them, but if you get 3 stacks on them, it's just better than Skarner ult, right?
Yeah.
And in my mind, I go, fuck, this is good because they have to spend 1,300 gold, and that's not a good way to like view League of Legends. I shouldn't be getting my strength for my character out of the fact that they have to spend money to make my character not strong.
Yeah, I think that's a really bad way to look at the game.
And I do think that's like how the game has to be balanced sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, you like you can't just have abilities that go, I click this on you and you die. Like that's not fun. I agree, but like it's just rough, man. I don't know how to deal with it either. Like
here's a pitch for you. You know, it's League of Legends. We like things that have stacks. So you put somewhere in his kit a stacking mechanic, and that determines the length of the ult suppression. So, and it's like based on being in combat or something, where if you just flash ult out of nowhere, it's going to be only like a 1 second pull. But if you have been fighting and are in like the middle of a team fight, it can be like a 3.5 thing. And I think then I'd be way more okay with it being like not cleansable at all.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, okay, you can't just, flash out of a bush. Haha, your AD carry's fucked. It's, hey, like a team fight was happening and you knew Skarner was charging up.
Yeah, I think alternatively, like maybe make there be some windows where his ultimate can't be cleansed. Like, maybe while his shield is active, it's uncleansable, right? So that way you can still cleanse it, and it's not but it's not entirely countered by one item at the same time. Like,
like your team has to still burst that shield to set you free.
Yeah.
I could see that.
That'd kind of be cool. That'd be really cool, actually. I love mechanics that your team has to work together on. Like, I think your cage is one of the best designed mechanics in the world. It's never used properly. I've never seen a teammate hit it, but I love the idea of it.
Yeah, and I think like specifically with Skarner, whose current kit is centered around, I'm going to isolate one person and then we win the game. Like, I think that's a really good way to handle it is, okay, my team needs to help me here.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we pretty much keep the R the same, but if your W shield is still up, you can't cleanse it. I really like that. And then I think we maybe, because his W gives him attack speed also, right?
No, it is just movement speed and a shield.
Okay.
He gets attack speed from stunning targets with his E or being on his spires.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I don't know why. Yeah. I think the Q and the E could probably see a lot of difference. I think the W you could have diminish, not as fast. especially with like this version where you're gonna want to W in but still have the shield up by the time you ult them.
Yeah.
So like I would at the very least like the movement speed can decay, but the shield should stay for like 4 seconds unless it's broken. Q, I could definitely see something more interesting with like an AoE where he's like, you know, hitting him with his claws or whatever. It's just so boring as is. Yeah, even if it was like an 8 to 10 second ability, almost like Renekton Q, where it's like, okay, cool, it's wave clear, it's got some extra effects, but the whole just like auto Q is dumb.
So I think it's a relic of him being designed as a jungler. Oh, this champion goes in the jungle, it needs an AoE ability to hit a lot of jungle camps. We obviously know, like, currently that's not the case. But what I mean, so what if it was I'm thinking more similar to what it is now, but it applies, like, I'm gonna steal this directly from Dota. It applies a poison that like explodes around the target you've auto attacked, like when that target dies or it expires or something like that, right? I mean, he's a scorpion. Scorpions have, you know, a stinger with some venom in it.
Yeah. No, I see that. Yeah, it's kind of sick.
How do we feel about his E? Do we still want it to just be like that slow line into stun?
I only like it because of his interaction in the top lane with it. Like where you can CC chain someone for a really long time if you do it perfectly.
Yeah, I think it's a very skillful ability. Also, like I don't mind his E at all. I think it's like kind of cool. I think there's cooler things you can probably do with it. Like he needs more scorpion type things. Like once again, we could make him where he has an ability that's like not a damage ability, where he like maybe like digs up dirt around him and grounds people into like a circle or something. You know what I mean? Like I would love to see a ground mechanic on him as well. Like that would be cool.
Yeah, I could see that for. Yeah, maybe he makes like a small area around him grounded and then takes a little reduced damage in that area because he's like partially submerged or something.
Yeah, like I think stuff like that's still cool. It kind of like keeps the essence of like having territories where you're like stronger and stuff.
Yeah. All right, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Again, he's not someone you can change a lot of because his ulti is just so core.
It's iconic and also like you were saying, has a lot of his power budget. So it's hard to work with that.
Yeah.
Cool. Next, we're going to be talking about Sona. So, I actually think there's some cool stuff. Like I know we could make like the joke of like, hey, let's just give her all of like Seraphine stuff, but I think there's actually a lot of cool things you can do with her. What if Sona was the combo support? You know how Seraphine was supposed to be his combo mage or whatever? Why can't you mix her fucking beats?
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, so
that would be super. I think I pitched that for DJ Sona, but in her kit that would be sick.
Yeah, so you have like your like damage beat, your heal beat, and your movement speed beat, and you can like mix these together by like chaining them together and stuff like that, and they all have like different effects that like flow into one another. That would be kind of sick.
Yeah, so
she goes from being the easiest character in the game to play to like the hardest.
So what I'm thinking is like two ways you could go about it. One, you could have it very similar to like Udyr stances, where they're just all on a really, really low cooldown, and you can like constantly be switching between the three, and at a certain point they're low enough to switch between two while like keeping up whatever like chaining bonus. Or you could make all of them like work on a stack system, where it's like every ability can have up to 3 charges, and it's like if you double Q, it's gonna be less effective than like a QEQ or something, and like you'd need some kind of lockout time, even if it was only like 0.25 seconds or something. But and then where it's like you have these charges, and you can go like, hey, if you QWE, then you get X effect, but if you QEW, you get this one.
I'm going to lean into that a little bit. I think...
Yeah.
So I think her abilities are a good like example of how I'm seeing this works. I think in my head, each ability has 2, I'll call them keywords, I think they function very similarly, and honestly, I think this is going to be like kind of ultimate related. But sort of you start combining abilities. So Q is like damage, right? And then it's got a secondary keyword of like, I don't know, single target, right? Your first, you ult, and then you get to combine your spells. Your first spell cast defines the type of spell it's going to be. So if you QW, it'll be spell or like damage, and then I don't know, like aura first. You know, if W had like healing and aura, or you could do healing single target and it'll heal allies. Like, I think that would be a sick way to do it, is it like make her weave her abilities together in the way that she wants to. Like,
I really like that, Nick, where like, yeah, each ability has its primary and secondary type. And I think that, yeah, like, I mean, I would think like single target, multi-target, and then like ally would probably be like the 3 targeting types. And then it could be like damage, healing, utility. And so it's like I can have utility on an enemy and it's maybe like a really hefty slow on one person, or I can do like AoE utility, or I can do like utility for a teammate. Oh, man, that could be really cool.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
It'd be so
that
hard.
Sick.
I think we're all like thinking the exact same idea. Like, so you keep the abilities as a core of like damage, heal, movement speed, or whatever, and then as Nick said, you could have them be like single target, AOE, whatever. The way I would like to twist it is that I think Colton's idea of them having multiple charges is super sick. I think being able to like QQ and it's like damage single target, that's awesome, but it's like less effective using QQ. So for example, you could use Q W and it'd be an AOE or whatever, right? Or you could use Q E and it would be like something that goes to an ally or whatever. It would be
or like the damage also slows them or something.
Yeah, something, whatever, right? And then same with thing with W. W is like your heal. It could be heal single target, heal AoE, heal apply to allies, and they heal people when they auto or whatever, right? But then, so like these are all like pretty short abilities with you can charge them up to 2 times, so you can like double Q, double W, double E, or you can obviously combine them. Or when you use ultimate, everything recharges at a fucking crazy rate. So like you're in this DJ mode for like 10 seconds where everything recharges really fast. So you're just like fucking chaining anything together. You're just fucking keyboard warrioring your way out through it. I think it would be so fucking cool. Like there is a little bit of the classic Sona is a character where you can mash the keyboard and do whatever. But there is like some essence to like what you're doing. And like being able to do these combos faster makes you a better Sona player.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is rolling on the keyboard, and part of it is like the Rise syndrome, which is why only like 5 players in the world can play Rise.
That's what I was gonna say. Is we're making her the support Rise, and that sounds sick as fuck.
Do we still let her ultimate? I feel like the ultimate should still have though like the big AoE stun.
Probably.
And then it's just like after the fact you get like maybe the stun is shorter now.
Yeah.
Or does like less damage, but like. Yeah, I really like that, where during that duration, maybe the lockout time is diminished and like your stacks recharge way faster.
Maybe she has to hit a certain number of allies or enemies with abilities or deal a certain amount of some threshold to unlock her stun ultimate, because she's
recast of your ult, yeah.
She's building towards the crescendo. Like,
oh, that's actually so fucking
cool.
No,
Nick's saying more like Samira, where like you have to have gotten your combo out there first to hit the crescendo, which I really like.
Yeah, I think that's so fucking cool, actually. I think it works really well. I also think it's so funny turning Sona from the easiest character in the game to a combo mage.
Like we've turned her into Samira and Rise like combined.
Support Samira Rise.
And it sounds sick.
It'd be really cool though.
It sounds so sick.
Makes me want to play the character. I think League could use characters like that, where like you have these double cast abilities that have all these interactions with other abilities. I feel like that's so cool, and I think Sona actually makes a lot of sense for it, despite how easy she is.
Oh, can I say that I think her ultimate should be? So I like how I think instead of I'm gonna lean kind of into what Colton was saying, like or Aiden, I think you were saying, where you can recast it. I want the first cast to be a silence, like. She turns everything silent, and then at the end she builds towards a crescendo to unlock the stun.
Oh no, yeah, I really like that, Nick. Yeah, it has 2 casts, and it's like first cast silence in the area,
plus
and then
like
she gets her mad combos
up,
and then after a certain amount of time, It's like, okay, yeah, everybody shut the fuck up. I'm about to pop off. Here comes the crescendo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, so wouldn't it be so hype if it actually like cut game sound?
There's like, a character. There's a character that does that in Dota. He says silence, and your game is muted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's so sick.
I don't think League would do it.
No, I don't think so either.
But oh man.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool as fuck. I really think that like it's something that I could see. So the only reason I wouldn't see Riot doing it themselves is because taking a character that's very easy to play and making them very hard to play kind of alienates the player base. But I think it's something that they would do like in their scope of like creating a character. Like it's super realistic. It's just maybe not for her.
Those people can just go to Seraphine.
Yeah, true. But yeah, that's Sona. That's fucking crazy. I think she's one of our more interesting ones we've done. Want to talk about Soraka really quick? I feel like she's a little bit less interesting.
Yeah. So she's the pocket healer, right? Like that's her role. And I think the first question we have to address is, do we keep her in that role?
So I think I love her being a heal mage. I think her being like full heals is super sick. I think my problem with her is that her E is her best ability, and it's not a heal ability.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Like, I feel like we should fucking just remove her E and then make her more of a heal mage. Like, she's pretty straightforward to counter. She's, like, pretty straightforward to play with or against. I just think that, like, it's crazy that she has 3 heal abilities, and none of them are her strongest ability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think her W and passive are pretty fine. Like, it's interesting to, like, run fast towards low health characters, and to have your heal cost your own health limits her from being stupid oppressive, even though her W is still kind of fucked. I could see the Q, like, I would love to see the Q have a longer range, have the particles start just like from above you, kind of like a Vygar W, and be like a little bit of a slower timer, maybe with a little bit of a wider area. Because, like, it's Star Call, right? Like, she's calling this shit from the sky, not just throwing a blob of magic at you.
Yeah.
And I think that could be, I mean, like, I don't think it's necessary. I think the Q now works fine, and it, like, gives you back the health regen and a little bit of damage. I think all of her abilities do too much damage. I mean, her Q and her E.
Her E is just too good.
Yeah, her E is fucked. Her E is way too fucked.
I think, like, maybe you could keep it similar, and the very end silences you. Like, if you're caught in it, you know, if you want to follow up with it, that's great. But you shouldn't just be able to drop down an instant AoE silence. That does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to I don't like her passive run fast. I think I'd much rather see, like, something similar to, I don't know, like, your W, like, cooldown is drastically reduced. Like, the cooldown scales in addition to cooldown reduction to the, like, percentage of the target that you healed. Like, if you heal someone,
so if you heal a low health target, it comes back faster.
Yeah, and I mean, it's gonna suck to see her spamming like that, but she's gonna have to maintain her Q stack, or it's gonna cost 90% of her health in 2 seconds.
I could also see, like, them having something in line with, like, if you're hitting multiple Qs back to back to back, especially sweet spot Qs, where, like, that health cost or cooldown are decreased. Because I think that is more interactive, which is, I think that's the biggest issue most people have with Soraka, is between her E and her W, she's just very non-interactive, where, like, she can sit 400 units behind the tower, hit W 11 times on the AD carry, and that AD carry gets to have a good day without anything else happening. But, hey, you have to hit the Q. Like, maybe if you hit the Q, your W heals more, or, again, costs less, as opposed to giving you, like, a little bit of health regen. And I think that also would potentially pull her out of solo lanes, which is a little problematic. How do we feel about the ult? Because I think if we really wanted to, like, we could move the silence onto her ult and then it wouldn't be quite as fucked. But then her E would have to be something else entirely, and she would really only have like the one heal ability on her W.
I'm gonna say her ultimate should be an AoE damage reduction zone plus a scaling heal over like a heal that scales the longer you charge it.
Ooh.
Like she creates this zone of healing. You know, she's gonna have to commit to it, but you know it's gonna be interruptible, but it's gonna protect your
What
team.
if it's like a fucking fountain of like life sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean that'd be sick.
That's what I was kind of thinking, is like similar to Janna, but without the knockback.
Yeah, without the knockback and added onto damage reduction.
Yeah, you sit there channeling, and anyone in that zone, they take reduced damage and they get nutty heals, and like that heal amps up over time. So if you don't stop that Soraka, she is going to full heal her entire team.
Yeah, there's some incentive for both the Soraka player to charge it up and the enemy team to interrupt it.
And there's also then I think some interesting like skill expression where I pop it instantly to like cancel half of a Karthus ult, and then like I'm only using it for a little bit of time, and we keep moving. I think that's really cool. So now we just need an E ability.
Yeah,
that's not a. I mean, if it was just damage, and at the end of it, it's silenced and rooted, or silenced only, I think that's fine. I guess.
Does she have room in her kit to have a heal? Like, I know she has like so much healing, but she kind of is the healing character. Does she have room to have like a healing ability where she puts it on someone, and the more damage they do, the more they heal? Like, I would love something like that where it feels like, oh, she's not just fucking pumping them full of heals, like she's making them heal more or something like that. Like, I feel like that's like interesting as like a mechanic.
Here's my thought, is that she puts down the zone as it is now, maybe a little bigger, and reduce the damage, take away the initial proc silence, but in that zone, like, enemy abilities cost extra mana, ally abilities cost like either reduced mana or like they get a portion of whatever they spend back as health, right? So like if I'm in the E zone and I throw a Sivir Q, maybe I get like 25 health back or something. But I think it could just be like enemy abilities cost more mana, ally abilities cost less mana.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And then at the end of the duration, like, again, enemies, it'll snare, allies, maybe at the end of the duration, gives them a little shield or something.
That sounds cool.
That's cool.
I like that a lot. Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Do we want to talk about Swain next?
This
Your
character's
boy.
perfect. We should probably skip him.
I do think he's like pretty cool. Like, unless we wanted to like go like Nick, I keep trying to get Colton to like just go. I keep trying to create characters that have just toggle like forms. I don't think Swain's a character that should have a toggle form, but you could do it in theory.
I think he could have. I think his new ultimate is like one of the coolest abilities in the game. So I wouldn't want to see that. I don't know. I really like how Swain like is designed. I don't know if I would make any changes to him, I guess. I don't know. Maybe he would get ramping move speed, or he would apply an AoE slow with his ultimate, just to allow him to, like, I don't know, have a little bit of stickiness. But
yeah, I think the way you could do it is, like, if he harvests a soul while ultimate is up, he gets a bit of movement speed.
yeah, that would be
So
fine.
it's like if you're ulting and you land an E, not only are they stunned, but you get to go in more. Or like you hit a sick 5-man W, like you should be rewarded for that and get to run into their team. Aside from that, I feel like I want to see like tanky Swain top more than I want to see like bursty Swain mid. Or either way, if he's top or mid, like I'd rather see him a little bit tankier and have his abilities do more of like max health, and he's got like the heal drain tank as opposed to the electrocute burst mage. But I don't know how you feel about that. That would really just be like number adjustments and not kit adjustments.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. Like, so since they've changed the ultimate not needing souls and the Q passing through minions, I feel like he's in a really good spot, and I don't think he's like, from a kit perspective, I don't think there's anything wrong at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But
what if when he gets a kill? If he gets a kill with his W, that area is just permanently. You can see that. Like the eye just stays because it got a kill.
I mean, like maybe if he ripped out a soul or something, it just casted another one of his W. But,
maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I could honestly see that. Yeah, where it's like if you get a kill with your W, it's just it refreshes cooldown.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be kind of hype. Or even like just getting souls giving you back a portion where it's like you could increase the base cooldown of it, and like every soul you get is like minus 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be really rewarding because like hitting a solid Swain W feels good, but you're also just like, man, I hit this like nutty long charge up super telegraphed ability and it did like 100 damage.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel the same way about it.
Yeah, I think it'd be really sick if it's just like you got cooldown back for each soul, and then that way it could be used, I think, more as a scouting tool if you keep like nailing people, right? Like if you hit them on Baron and catch 3 of them, it'll be back up real soon to check again.
What if what if he just got scaling cooldown reduction with the number of souls he got? Like he's harvesting souls over the course of a game. He gets like a little bit of bonus health, but I feel like maybe you should get more than that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I just think everything in League that is infinite scaling should be infinite scaling, like
up to a cap.
What's the opposite of exponentially?
Oh,
like
linearly?
Diminishing.
No, not linear.
Aiden wants it to be diminishing.
Yeah, diminishing.
Oh, okay, I see.
Because I do think that like it's a little bit silly. There's always like a point where it's like this is what you should hit, and then when you go above it, it feels OP sort of thing. And I feel like trying to just find that sweet number and try to keep it around that, like even if you're like you are scaling to it and you don't really scale past it, it kind of feels bad. I do think that there's reasons to keep stuff like that in check.
Yeah, nobody complains about like the health you get on Scion W, except for that one game where the Scion got 3,000 health from his base.
That's what every game.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like even like little things like that where it's like his Sion's W, his health really doesn't matter what he gets from W. Mm-hmm. That being said, if he gets say 10,000 health just somehow, right? Like the game goes long and he gets 10,000 health. You go, this is a little bit silly. I would rather him just more consistently get 3,000.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I think
maybe
him getting cooldown reduction based on souls, period, or just like, again, I really like the idea of every time you harvest a soul getting some of his cooldowns back, because like it rewards you for hitting your stuff, and it makes it more interactive to me. But it also solves one of the biggest issues I think that Swain has, in that like in order to consistently get off combos, you need to build CDR. But if you do that, you're squishy as fuck. But if you build tanky, you don't have mana and you don't have cooldown reductions. You don't even get to cast spells at all.
Yeah.
So I could see that. I could also see. I think his mana numbers need some work, but that again is just.
But that's not kit related, so.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. Want to talk about our lovely boy Sylas now?
Oh boy.
I actually have a lot of opinions on Sylas. I think I'm a Sylas hater. But I like his kit a lot. I really do. I think his only problematic part of his kit, in my opinion, outside of the fact that I think numbers can obviously be changed, his Q should be his damage ability, not his E. It's crazy to me that his E is still a 1.0 ratio. But we're also not here to change ratios and stuff like that, really. Like, other than just saying, like, hey, he should probably have this as his damage spell. I think his W heal is a little bit fucking wild, and probably is too low of a cooldown.
Yeah.
But, like, I also don't think it's bad for him to have, like, a heal ability. I just wish he was more, like, according to his lore, like, this guy who uses magic and kind of was suppressed, you know what I mean? Like, he was suppressed and wasn't allowed to use his magic in the kingdom. I'd love if, like, I know they don't want to do stuff like this anymore because they don't want people to like steal mana and stuff like that. But wouldn't it be cool if he hit his like Q, it like fucking took mana or like weakened spells for like the next second or something? Like he just has like this magic power like that he's just unleashing. He's like this fucking crazy like caster. It just feels like he's just dude who hits hard and has magic chains, which I guess is what you can boil him down to. But like his ultimate, I think, is fucking really well done. I really think it's great. I think the way his Q feels, the way his passive feels. I love the fucking chain whip AOE thing. Like that's so fucking cool.
That's pretty hype. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that definitely the Q should be his damage ability. I think the E, once they take away the damage, is a pretty fine like actual way to make it work. The W heal is fucking nuts, and aside from just adjusting the numbers, I think that is somewhere where you could do something interesting. And as much as I hate to say it, I feel like this is one where having something similar to a Fiora riposte could be really cool. And would, I think, fit thematically, where it's like Sylas is like, all right, cool, you're going to cast your big spell at me, but I'm the anti-magic dude. Like, either I cancel it or I reflect it or I do something with it. And I think that if they want to make it just his heal, just be like, cool, he like channels for a time, and then if you hit him with a spell in that time, it heals him instead of damaging him.
Or gives him a shield. Like, what if he absorbed like a spell? Yeah. Like he has a parry, but it's for only spells. Like, but he can absorb it into like a shield or something. Like that's so fucking cool.
Yeah, he absorbs a spell. Like 1-to-1, the damage goes into a shield, and then part of the shield like heals him if it doesn't get broken or something. Because I think he needs some kind of sustain as a melee caster. But I think that's how you could do it. Yeah, it's like you absorb a spell, and then whatever shield isn't broken, a little bit of it gets converted into healing after.
Yeah.
I think that could be really hype.
I mean, I honest to God, like, unless you guys have anything else off the top of your dome, like, I feel like that's all he really needs, though. I think his passive and his Q and his ult all work perfectly. His E is a little bit boring, but once again, he does need a dash/pull. Like, he needs some sort of gap closer ability. And I feel like the chains latching onto someone is a cool way of doing it.
Yeah, I think also...
Just damage-wise, it's a little bit silly.
He shouldn't have 3 dashes, is the thing for me.
Like, you know those W dashes, I guess?
The W is giga small, but, like... to me, it should just be the E, where like you already get your setup into chain, and that's why I want to take away the W little dash.
I think he's too reliant on hitting the E, though.
I don't think that's a problem.
He does feel a little bit too mobile with W plus doubled, because his E is like a dash and then a pull, right? Like those are two movement abilities.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with him feeling too mobile, but I think if we remove like his point and click method of doing it, like I don't know, I don't think it would feel very, very smooth to play.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't feel that way, but I can see where that might be an issue. But
I just think having him rely solely like as a melee short range mage to have like one ability that he has to hit, it's really telegraphed. Like I don't know if that's like a great,
I guess, but like a melee combo character having like only one like primary mobility gets you into a fight. Like I don't think that is uncommon in League, and I don't like. I think a lot of other characters have either alternate ways in or it's like a point and click, but like I really don't think he needs anything else because like I'm just gonna like look through characters. Like obviously I think the furthest end of the scale is a Mumu Q, where it's like if you don't hit a Mumu Q, you're just trash.
Yeah, I feel like that's what Sylas is going to turn into, sort of.
Maybe, I don't know. I feel like he would be, because right, like you still get the little E dash, and you can like, especially in team fights, you're gonna probably hit something, and like if you want it in lane, you gotta fucking hit it. It's like if you play like Lee Sin in lane, and you miss your Qs, like you should be punished.
I mean, currently Lee Sin maxes Q second.
Well, yeah. that's a different argument for a different day. But like I don't know. I think it's not problematic to have a character rely upon hitting like their big ability. Like if you miss Morgana Q or Blitzcrank Q, they're pretty trash characters.
But I think all the characters that you're referring to are season 1 or before season 1 characters that don't necessarily feel great, like outside of that one single ability.
Yeah, I think that maybe then he's got something else giving him movement speed or tenacity. Maybe the W is still a small dash, but I think particularly if it's going to be like this absorb shit ability, he's probably going to be immobilizing himself, or it's just like a quick cast and it's on you.
I forgot we had talked about changing it.
Yeah. In terms of the ultimate, because the cooldown now is pretty short, right? But it's like it locks out for a specific person for a longer time.
I would say it's an average length cooldown until max rank.
Yeah, max rank's it's 40 seconds, but it's like a regular ass ability early sort of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to think of like maybe it was a longer cooldown, but like when he steals it from you, you can't use it for a short time, but he has to use it within that short time. Right.
I don't mind that. I do think
I can steal your Karthus R, but I only have it for 6 seconds, and like you can't use it while I have it, but I have to use it.
I guess my only problem with that, I think it creates a lot of like unfun scenarios, I guess.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like characters that we don't like in League of Legends or stuff like Tom Kench support, because all his W does is support is stop plays from happening. There's going to be lots of times where you go, okay, we're getting into a big fight. I'm going to steal their Zillion ult for this fight, so their Zillion can't use ult. And like, I just feel like
I'm with you.
Well, yeah, I like the idea of it. I just don't think it I think it creates way less fun scenarios than fun scenarios, I guess.
Imagine if Zach jumps into a team fight and then you just ult him. He just has to sit there.
Yeah. It just stops a lot of fun from happening, right? And I think that's a good suggestion because I think it makes sense. Like it's literally called hijack.
Yeah, he steals it. Yeah,
you take it. But I think that's probably something I bet they tried at some point. And they went, oh fuck, this just creates unfun scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I bet it also interacted like really weird with channel ults.
Yeah.
And you start charging your fucking Karthus ult and he just like steals it.
Yeah.
Feels bad, man.
Cool. Do we want to talk about our last character, which is Syndra?
Yeah.
I mean, man, I think Syndra...
Fix your interaction with Spell Shield.
I mean, first of all, fix every character's interaction with Spell Shield. If I block your spell...
Spell and shield both start with S. We're fixing it.
I shouldn't block a portion of it. I should block the entire spell.
I do think that hers, like, if it does get blocked, I think it should like still let her shoot them all out, but they should all drop on the ground so you could follow up.
She should get all the balls. They just shouldn't do any damage.
Nick, I do see the world in which Riot listen to this. They go, "Oh yeah, Nick, you're right. She should have her things blocked," and then it just like siphons her ult.
Yeah,
yeah. It just destroys all the them.
No, I think that getting the balls out there is a good thing, but you should block 1/6 of the damage, right?
Yeah, I agree.
The only thing, I think her kit works really, really well in the game and with itself. The only thing I would really, I guess, want to see is like lower the damage on everything, lower the cooldown on everything, and make the ulti more dependent on having a lot of orbs. And even like if they wanted to, they could give it some kind of damage amplification of like how close the orbs are, like how many orbs has hit that person recently. Because like you want to avoid the situation, I think, at all costs where she's like just presses R with no setup, or like misses QWE, presses R and still kills you. Like we don't want that.
Yeah.
So I think that either her having the ability to have more of these orbs out and then having it scale more on that, or again having like a damage amplification where it's like, okay, if you hit them with a Q and a W and an E, your ulti does like 30% more damage because you actually hit them with your orbs.
Yeah, maybe that would be her passive. I think her current passive is really fucking boring. It's really, really strong.
It's really strong, and I think it's only boring because she's not a character where you get to pick.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like your ability gets stronger at max rank, but it's always the same order.
And I don't know, maybe she could unlock those through use, a la Elementalist Lux skin upgrades. Like, hit certain character 20 times with this ability, and you'll upgrade it, you'll master it. While our passive could then be what you were saying, Colton, hit a character with your ability, that increases subsequent damage against this character.
Yeah, and I think that would fit, especially with her. Again, if we went like lower damage but lower cooldowns, where it's like, okay, you get like a Q, maybe you do a QWE, like Q, kite a little, one more Q ult. Right, where it's like, she should be able to get a lot of orbs out there and do a lot with them. I think it would be really interesting. And then, the passive is, I think, probably just that ramping, and then you could maybe have it be every time she gets a rank of ultimate, she chooses an ability to upgrade if you still want that system. But I think that's so much less limiting than having to put 5 ranks in it.
Yeah, that's just... I mean, it's good for the character because I think, oh, okay, do I want more damage from the W? Do I want more utility for the E?
And then you get to pick, yeah.
Yeah, I just think it should be baked into her kit and not... It shouldn't take up any power budget like, I guess, it currently does with the passive.
Yeah, I think gating it behind ultimate levels would probably be the way I'd go.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably a good way, yeah.
Like, right, very similar to Kha'Zix. And, even if they wanted to give her ultimate and evolution, you pick 3, I think it's probably better to just have the basic 3, keep them as they are. And then, it's like, okay, well, I'm doing really well this game. I'm going to snowball by making my Q do more damage. Or I'm falling behind. Let me just make my stun better so that I can protect my team. Like, you have those options, and it doesn't cost you 4 levels to get there.
And then, I don't know, maybe max rank, she can get, like, 1 extra ball on her ultimate or something. Like, base, Otherwise, I think she's a really well-designed character.
Ooh, what if they added a thing... I'm trying to think of how you could really do it, but, like, when you pull off the, like, dope combos, what if, like, when they hit, the orbs split into 2? Like, I don't know how you do it.
Like,
so,
if 2 orbs hit each other?
No, like, I'm saying, like, if you hit, like, a max range, like, W into E, and, like, the stun hits a champion, like, it stuns them, and then there's that orb, but it, like, drops a second orb next to them. But I feel like that would be kind of fucked.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't really make sense. But I just want her to have more orbs, is the core of this argument.
Yeah.
Cool.
And to not have to use R and then E to do that.
Maybe she should just become the shotgun mage. Like, every time you cast an ability, gain a stack that increases mana cost and damage for every ability. I don't know.
Yeah. Cool. That was the S characters. So we are done for this month's set of characters. Next month we'll be covering the T characters, which are Tahm Kench, Talia, Talon, Taric, Teemo, Thresh, and Tristana. Got some interesting ones there. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being a part of our Patreon. If you're listening to this on YouTube, go sub to our Patreon. The next one's probably live. We'll talk to you guys next month. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.